everyone, it's me, Lindsay, with Equip Me OT, here today to talk about 3 different walkers with 3 very different price points. So this one over here is going to come in at $50, this one in the middle for $200, and this one down here a whopping $750. So I'm going to go over a bunch of different tests I did with these walkers, and stay tuned till the end because I'll tell you in what situations and for whom these would be best to use with. So this one over here is a Drive Basic 7.5-inch wheel, meaning they have 7.5-inch wheels on all 4. It has a padded 12-inch seat, can hold up to 300 pounds, and it itself weighs about 20 pounds. This one in the middle, also by Drive, is their Nitro Sprint. This one has a little bit more size to it in that it has 10-inch front wheels, 18-inch seat, it can accommodate up to 350 pounds, and it weighs around 19 pounds. And this guy down here is by Nuvio One. It's the Nuvio One by Nuvio Mobility. It is going to have 7.5-inch wheels. It weighs 20 pounds, can accommodate a user of up to 300 pounds, and it itself has a 16-inch seat. So let's talk about how these all fared in my indoor testing. So in my own home, we have a lot of narrow corridors and pathways and small bathrooms. And I will say, this guy over here, the Drive Basic, was pretty good in the small spaces. It has the smallest footprint of these 3, and that its width is only 21 inches. So it actually fit through most of my doorways. It also has smaller wheels, allowing me to turn within those spaces. This one here, with its big old wheels, was really difficult in small, tight spaces. It moves really smooth, as do these two, but it was really difficult to make full turns without getting my wheels caught up on things. So this guy in the indoor spaces was a little bit cumbersome. This one was interesting because it has slightly smaller wheels, but it is wider than the first one. So it was a little tricky in some of my tighter spaces. However, because I was able to flip up the seat on this one, I can stand inside the frame. This is a super important characteristic of this walker that the other two do not have. This ability to stand inside the frame meant that when I was walking forward into a space or backing out of a space, I still felt really stable and supported. Versus these two, as I was going and coming from spaces, if I had to back out, I lose a lot of that stability as I back out because I'm behind all of the frame. So again, a little bit of a unique thing with this one, it allows me to do that. Now, as far as using them inside and their functionality, I will say this one and this one have rather firm seats, flat and firm, which meant I could carry things pretty easily. I could put food or a cup or a tray on these seats and they'll stay stable. Versus this is a softer seat. Not as good for transporting items in the house. Now, you could adjust that. They do have aftermarket covers that you can put on these to make it more stable, but again, it didn't come with it, so I can't give it credit for that. So these are better for transporting items in general. Now, I will say, one of the cool features about this one that I could also use in the house that the other two could not is with the brakes locked, it has these pegs on the back, and these pegs act as a stand support. So with the seat up, I can sit down on the couch, have this in front of me, and now I have a standing frame to push myself up to a stand to rise up to use the walker. You'll see this as a theme throughout this, in that this walker was great with these extra features that these ones don't have. I can still use these for support, but I'm going to use a different strategy of having to push up, and I really can't use this in the same support. Same one here. If I use it for support for a sit to stand, I'm going to have to push up and really give myself a nudge. So as far as indoor use, they all worked well on hard floors, tile, and carpet. Relatively the same across those categories with these non-pneumatic rubber wheels. But the winner for overall size was this guy, so those tight spaces, and the winner for, general durability or usability in the house was this guy. First things first, we took them to a pretty beat up section of sidewalk to see how they would do on the concrete. This guy on concrete with its slightly smaller wheels and just generally less substantial build was a little bit uncomfortable to hold on to. It did vibrate quite a bit, and as you can see, the wheels were really bouncing around. So on the sidewalk, it was a little bit rough. This guy with its big wheels and a little more padding in the handles really handled the bumps and the changes in pitch on the sidewalk really, really well. It was pretty smooth and very comfortable to navigate. I felt really secure with this and stable. This guy was not quite as good as the middle one for the sidewalk. I found that because, again, smaller wheels, it was a little bit bumpy and cumbersome, though again, I was able to stand inside the frame, which gave me a little bit more support and I felt more upright. So with this guy, it was a little bit bumpy and a little hard through the hands, though it does have more padding than the first one with these rubberized grips. With the grass, this guy, the Drive Basic model, and this guy with its slightly smaller wheels, I had to work to get this through the grass. So much so, actually, that with this one, as I was coming through it, I found myself almost tipping forward a little because those wheels would catch in soft areas of the ground. The Nitro was fantastic in the grass, really billy-goated on through. So if you're somebody who's doing a lot of outdoor activities, this guy was great. And lastly, I decided to check them all out on the curb. So this one did okay on the curb. I will say when you lift it up, it does want to tip forward. It's pretty heavy. It goes up on the curb okay, but you got to use quite a bit of strength to get it up there. This guy has something very unique in that the Nitro has curb assist, which some people like and some people don't. I really like it, again, for that outdoor use. That curb assist, you're going to be able to put your foot down on, and it will assist with getting it up the curb, so you do a lot less lifting, which is really important when you're talking about a heavier design like this one at 19 pounds. And this one, similar to the basic model, you do have to physically lift, but because you can stand inside the frame, you can lift a little bit more at the center of your body, so it's a little bit more comfortable despite it being the 20 pounds. So I will say the middle option, your Nitro option, is definitely the best for curbs, where the Drive Basic model and the Nuvio One are a little bit less simplistic and a little bit heavier. Next, we took them to the car. Now, not everybody has a trunk. Some people have hatchbacks, some people have trucks, some are getting them in and out of back seats. We decided to use a standard sedan trunk. These tend to be the hardest. So I went ahead and tested all three in the trunk, and they all fold up relatively easily. I will say they all have slightly different folding mechanisms. The Drive Basic is my least favorite folding option. It lifts up and you're going to bring in the wheels, and then the problem with it is there's nothing holding it closed. So it does want to pop open on you as you're lifting it, and there's not a super easy, clear place to grab it and pivot it in. So definitely the most cumbersome of the three for lifting into the vehicle, and at 20 pounds, it does take some significant strength to do that. In the middle here, we've got the Nitro. The Nitro was pretty great because they did fold it a different way. So instead of folding the way the Basic does, it folds the long way like this, and then you can hear it clips. So it actually holds itself, and that will allow you to pick it up with much greater ease. Also, it folds back out relatively easily. I really liked this one for loading and unloading. And then we have this one. The Nuvio One has a really unique folding feature in that the back legs actually fold in like this. And that allows you to actually kind of wheel it in that position up to the side of up to the trunk. So it's like that. And then all you have to do is lift it up and in. Pretty clear way to lift it up and in. Again, between this and the Nitro, I really liked these compared to the Basic model for getting them in and out of trunks. All right, so now let's talk about a general overview of kind of comfort and ergonomics across these three options. So the first thing I want to talk about is the handles, as they are slightly different on all three models. The first is the Drive Basic handle, and I do like that this comes with this thumb support because that is a nice ergonomic feature to be able to use the brakes and reach them easily down here. The downside is this is very hard plastic. There is no softness to this handle at all, so despite the support, it's very, very firm to the touch. This one, the Drive Nitro, also has a kind of a winged support, so it gives you a little bit more thumb support. Not quite as much as this one, but it gives you a rubberized handle, still firm, but a little more absorbent and soft. I specifically noticed this handle was more comfortable when I was using it outdoors on the really rough surfaces or in my house on tile where I was hitting a lot of grout. But generally, I found this one to be pretty comfortable to hold compared to this one. And then finally, the handle system on this guy is very, very simple. It's just a rubberized grip here, and it has these flat edges. Very easy to hold, but there's no extra support. However, it would be very easy to modify because it's easy to wrap. So you could easily add a little bit of extra grip to this if you needed to. These ones tend to be hard to modify because of the wing, so it's kind of dependent on the user. But this one generally was pretty comfortable to hold, but nothing special compared to the middle one, which I felt was the most comfortable to hold, less vibration through my hands. The next thing I want to talk about is the brake systems, and this is a really interesting thing because all three have these pull lock brakes that have 3 settings. So what you're going to do is either squeeze, which is going to be in like a brake, so you're going to slow with that. You're going to lock it for park by pushing them down, and they all do that. And then you're going to release them in order to go forward. But I want to show you the difference in the level of squeeze I have to do. This one, very easy. Clicks, very easy to squeeze, and it's a shorter distance between this and the squeeze handle. This guy has a massive distance between the lock and the handle, and I have very small hands, so I noticed this right away, and you really got to squeeze to release it. And you got to put a good deal of strength into it to park the brakes as well. However, it has a unique feature in that it has an extra adjustment here, so you can actually add tension to the brakes to slow the roll of the walker. This is very unique to this one and is a great feature for individuals who need to have the walker move slower in order for them to feel safer. That's a really cool feature. This one has just the standard brakes, still has a good deal of distance. You can see similarly to this one, it locks quite a ways down from my hand, so I had to really squeeze. But once it's up close, it squeezes easier than this guy. Could be that this one's a little bit older. I've had this one longer and it's loosened up over time. Another really key feature about the brakes is the brake lines. The basic model, the $50 model, has fully exposed brake lines. This is okay sometimes and a huge pain other times because these brake lines get caught up on things, can get stretched out, and can just be a trip hazard. So I've had these get caught on door handles and things like that. So these exposed brake lines are kind of a pain, but not something that you're going to struggle with all the time. This one, the Nitro, no exposed brake lines. All the brake lines are integrated, which is really, really cool and gives it a nice clean look too. This guy has partially concealed brake lines. So you can see the brake line goes through the frame, and that's nice because it's not flopping out everywhere, but it's also not fully concealed, so kind of somewhere in the middle. Next, let's talk about the seats. These have totally different seats. We've got our standard 12-inch square gently padded seat here, and underneath the seat, the useful storage basket. This setup, I have to say, works really, really well. It's super easy to see down into this basket for a lot of folks. The seat's not particularly comfortable or uncomfortable. It's just kind of there. So if you need to add extra cushion to make it more comfortable, you can absolutely do that. But at 12 inches, it is fairly small. So somebody who's a bigger bodied user, you may want to look at walkers that have a larger seat, and they do make them with substantially larger seats. This one has a sling seat, nice and padded, very cushiony, with this cushion backrest. This cushion backrest gives you a little bit, but it's not giving you much support. This one's really designed for more comfort. You can sit on this for longer periods of time, and you can lean back on it and be really safe and comfortable as well. It also has this unique 3-position bag that it comes with. It has pegs on the front, pegs right here that you can position it either way, and pegs down below here, which is a nice feature, but I will say the bag itself is quite large. And I found that when I was using it, it was easy to kind of lose stuff in it. It didn't want to stay open super well, and it was kind of floppy. So while I like the concept of it, I'm not sure it was as easy to use as just the basic basket was. Finally, we have this one, no accessories. This one comes just like you see it. There's no bags, no extra stuff, but it is going to be releasing new accessories soon. The manufacturer is in the process of developing a few that will work custom specific to this walker. It's important to note that these 3 walkers are not the same in what they will accept as far as customizations. This walker requires that you use the Drive Nitro accessory pack. So that's going to come with this thing here that clips onto the handle because there's no round, easy to mount posts like this one, which can use like bike accessories or even stroller accessories. It's very flexible. I have accessories mounted to it all over the place. Very cheap, very easy to accessorize. This one, you have to use the accessory kit that is designed specifically for it, and this one is the same. So where this one you can buy a generic accessories and have it work with it for the most part, these two you have to buy accessories that are specifically designed for it direct from the manufacturer. So let's quick talk about one other feature that these all have slightly different designs for, and that's the height adjustments on the handles. With the basic, you do have to unscrew, remove the peg, and adjust it, which isn't a huge deal, but it's easy to accidentally drop pieces and it can get a little fussy. This one has a really nice push button style height adjuster, which I absolutely love. It's so easy to use. And then this one, you just pull out and adjust the height, but it was a little bit fussier. It requires a little bit more effort. As you can see, once it's pulled out, then you just adjust the height and then push it back in. So it's not as easy as the Nitro, but it's still much easier than the Drive Basic model. All right, so now for my professional opinion, my overall take on these various walkers. This Drive Basic walker has been on the market forever and is in thousands of homes across the nation. This walker is great for intermittent temporary use and low budget. It's going to be excellent in those situations where you're recovering from surgery and it's only going to be needed for a few months, or if you're using it in a location that maybe you don't stay at often. I have a lot of folks who like to have these at like a kid's home that they visit once a couple weeks or so. It's going to last a pretty good long time. However, it will show its wear relatively quickly at this lower price with these exposed brake lines, with this kind of lower end finishes. It will need to be replaced, but that's okay because it's at a lower price point. It's going to be really good for those who need light balance support. So individuals who are pretty mobile but just need a little bit of stability to make sure that they can get around and really like to have a seat everywhere they go. It's going to offer that perfectly adequately, and it's going to be great in those smaller, tighter spaces. Small apartments, little bathrooms, spaces that don't have the room for something substantially larger. This guy's going to have you covered in those categories. Now the Drive Nitro, this is going to be great for an active user, somebody who is out and about in the community, maybe is using this for long term. It's definitely a more substantial design and build. It's a little bit bigger. It has a nice folding option, so it's great for somebody who's going out into the community, attending events, things like that. It is not going to be great in those smaller homes, small apartments, like congregate living situations where you have really tight bathrooms or long hallways. It's going to get caught up in those spaces. It's great for those who need a light to moderate amount of balance support. Again, you walk slightly more in frame than in the first one, so it's going to keep you more upright. But generally speaking, it's not quite as high balance support as the others. However, it does have the great feature of the adjustable brake system so that you can slow it down a little bit, which is a great feature for those who maybe are more on the impulsive side. So individuals with neurological conditions, you need to encourage to slow down a little bit or keep their walker with them instead of so out front. You can slow them down by adjusting this brake system, which is a really cool feature for this. You're also going to get a little more style with this one. The Drive Nitro comes in several colors, and like I said before, it also comes in petite, standard, and large. So it's got a great deal of variation in its design. Great overall walker for those active users. Finally, we have the Nuvio. The Nuvio One is great for long-term use. If you're going to invest a little bit more money, I recommend it for somebody who's going to need it for long-term function. It's also great for those who have a higher amount of balance and stability support needs. Because I can stand up in the frame, I have balance all the way around me. I can also access things directly in front of me, like counters, sinks, things like that, without anything blocking my way. It's a super unique feature, not available on any other style of four-wheel walker. This is super important for those who need that balance support. Somebody with variable or progressive illnesses, they're going to benefit a lot from having that added stability. They also benefit most from having this sit-to-stand support. Individuals who need a lot of sit-to-stand, this is a hugely beneficial option. Helps people get up from the toilet, up from couches, dining room chairs, you name it. This is a really cool feature that nobody else has. I also really like that this one can fold in such a unique way, because when it is folded like this, it can actually be rolled along. I have to unlock the brakes, but rolled along like this sideways. This is a feature that maybe not for everyone, but for caregivers or for therapy supports, this is so useful because you can wheel this right along and it's going to be, instead of having to lift it up and carry it in its folded position, unique feature that I have found nowhere else. So again, you pay a little bit more, but you're getting some really unique options, and this is great for that. So there you have it, 3 different walkers at 3 different price points, $50, $200, and $750. Which one would you choose? Leave your comments down below. And if you need more information like this on how to stay safe and independent in your home and community, consider subscribing to Equip Me OT. Thank you.